Good afternoon, dear students. Myself Parvatama, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, GFGC, Gauri Bidanur. Welcome for the session 39. In this session, we are going to discuss about some illustration on classification of transaction according to Accounting Standard 3 on cash flow analysis. In the previous class, we had discussed about the meaning of cash flow statement, concept of cash, cash equivalents, and cash flow from operating, investing, and financing activities. The objective of this session is to familiarize the student with cash flow statement as a tool for financial analysis. After this session, you are able to classify the transaction under different activities of cash flow statement. First, we can know cash flow from operating activities. It means, as we know that the preparation of cash flow statement involves three steps. That is, cash flow from operating activities, cash flow from financing activities, and cash flow from investment activities. This cash flow is classified as inflow and outflow of cash from operating activities. Let me see some illustration for inflow of cash from operating activities. Cash received from debtors, cash received from royalty, fee, commission and other revenues, cash received from sale of goods and rendering services, cash receipts from the sale of intangible assets such as patent, trademark, copyright, etc. Cash received from sale of securities such as equity shares, preference shares and debentures. Dividend received on securities. Receipt from interest against the debentures. These are some of the illustrations for inflow of cash from operating activities. Next, cash outflow from operating activities. So, following some of the examples for cash outflow from operating activities. First one, payment made on salaries to the employees. Cash payment made to suppliers of goods and services. Cash payment to interest on loan and interest on deposits. Cash payments to purchase of securities. Cash payment to wages of laborers. Cash payment of income tax. These are some of the examples for cash outflow from operating activities. Next, another activity which affecting to the cash flow statement is investing activities. Here is also cash flow is classified as two: inflow of cash and outflow of cash. Following are some of the examples for inflow of cash from investing activities. Sale of fixed assets, sale of investments such as shares and debentures, etc. Receipt of interest against the debenture and dividend against the preference and equity shares. Receipt from repayment of loans made to third parties. Interest received from investment. These are some of the examples for investing activities. Next, cash outflow from investing activities. Cash payment to purchase of fixed assets, loans and advances given to third parties, cash payment to acquire the shares, debentures, etc., dividend paid to existing shareholders, interest paid to existing debenture holders. Then the last activity which is involved in the preparation of cash flow statement is financing activities. Here is also cash flows are classified into two heads, that is inflow of cash and outflow of cash. Following are some of the examples for cash inflow from financing activities. Receipts on issue of shares. Receipt of cash by issuing shares to the public is treated as one of the sources of cash to the business concern. Cash received from issuing debentures. As we know that shares and debentures are the two major sources for long-term finance. Issuing debentures to the public is also treated as cash received. Cash received from raising of loans and other borrowings. Next, cash outflow from financing activities. Interest paid on long-term borrowings and debentures. As we know that if we issue the debentures to the public, it is the liability of the company to pay the dividend to their debenture holders. It is treated as cash flow. Dividend paid to shareholders of the company. If the public purchased the shares from any company, then it is the liability of the company to pay the dividend to their existing shareholders. It affects the cash. Repaid borrowings made by the firm. Repayment of loan is also one of the outflow from financing activities. Thank you very much for one and all.